Well, what would the fallout happen from Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns becoming WWE World Heavyweight Champion? And talk about one of the reasons why I absolutely love watching the New Day nowadays in WWE. Hey YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it is definitely time to work.
This is the Hurricane, and you're watching WGS-TV. And if not, what's up with that?
Greetings YouTube, we have warped you into another episode of WGS-TV right here on youtube.com/WrestleGamer. I am the host of Gamer. This will be Billy Boudreaux. Today is Friday, December 18th, 2015, and what we're going to be doing on today's video, guys and gals, is going to be breaking down and talking about Thursday Night Smackdown, and we got a few things to talk about here. Not very much, but we still got a couple of good things to talk about, and joining me on this review, ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio himself, Rick Head. Rick, how you doing?
I'm doing good, but that Ziggler promo? Ooh. Sorry,
yeah,
Zig.
Go ahead.
He's a great wrestler, but couldn't sell a promo to save his life.
Yeah, it's somewhat debatable. Sometimes he has good promos, sometimes he has bad promos. But so with that being said, guys and gals, let's go ahead and get started. As we take a look at the opening segment with Roman Reigns and Sheamus, basically what happening was Sheamus, with the power invested by the Authority, basically had Roman Reigns, was to have Roman Reigns be thrown out of the building. And the piss-ass guys they got for security, Rick, they was a little bit embarrassing. But I got to tell you this, though, Rick, I'll give it to the big guy, because remember that the biggest guy of the security team took the Superman punch like a champ, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and obviously I wouldn't be surprised if those wrestlers are like indie wrestlers or locals, because they weren't legitimate security, and I'm sure Joe would agree with me on that one.
Oh yeah, they never use real security. They have to use basically breaking it down. It is like indie workers.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the voice of the classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight, here back on WGS-TV. Mr. Knight, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Billy.
Now, looking at the opening match, and as one of your personal favorites, Mr. Knight, it's Alberto Del Rio and Ryback. Oh, let me rephrase that. Two of your personal favorites, Alberto Del Rio and Ryback. In essence, it was an okay match, and I believe, Rick, if my memory serves me, this was the first time that he's used the cross arm breaker as his finish ever since coming back to WWE, because as of late, he was just solely using the turnbuckle double stomp, and in this instance, he used the cross arm breaker to get the finish.
Yeah, I don't know whether the WWE kind of said that double stomp doesn't look too good here, so you might have to go back to your cross arm breaker. He has kind of, teased it a few times. If he did his little ring taunt where he slams his forearm, but he's never really been able to execute it, or people would just simply didn't tap out. If you ask me, I personally like that. It's a pleasant surprise to see more wrestlers doing actual arm breakers than something that could truly injure you.
Now, with Tyler Breeze and Titus O'Neil, first off, a couple of things to take away from what we saw on Thursday Night Smackdown, Mr. Knight, was one thing, the inception of a new storyline between Goldust and Tyler Breeze. Do you see this storyline being a good, sustainable storyline for Tyler Breeze and Goldust?
No, not really. I think it's just some way to just give these guys something to do. It is a waste of time. They could have moved Tyler Breeze, in my opinion, put Tyler Breeze and Dolph Ziggler as a tag team with Summer Rae as their manager, and they could be the new Heartthrobs.
Now, Rick, could you make heads or tails out of what they were, especially the backstage segment they did with them? Could you make heads or tails about what they were doing with that right there?
Well, I will agree with Joe that right now they just need something to do, and but I also think they're trying to find a way to put Tyler Breeze over by having him face a legend such as Goldust. And if that is the case, the only way it's going to work is if Tyler Breeze goes over on Goldust, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, so far, I've not been impressed with Tyler Breeze, or at least the gimmick. The gimmick is like a watered down Rick the Model Martel.
Yep, Goldust would continue his shenanigans on the outside, which would distract Tyler Breeze, allowing Titus O'Neil to hit the Clash of the Titus on Tyler Breeze to pick up the win. Now, on to one of the reasons why I truly enjoy watching the New Day. When they're cutting their promos, it's got to be some of the most entertaining stuff I have ever heard in my life. Especially when they start, Big E starts going to talk about TLC, and he says, well, if you haven't seen TLC yet, spoilies, we won the championships, we retained our titles. I was bawling out laughing with what Big E's doing, and Mr. Knight, you gotta admit, that is some entertaining stuff right there.
Actually, you know what? A couple months ago, I would have said Big E was he should be on his way out. It's a good thing they turned his career around. It actually benefits him. They actually exploring himself. It's opening himself up to the audience. And I think him and Kofi and Xavier Woods, as this faction, I'm going to go on record here. I was one guy who pegged them to be just transitional champions. They're actually entertaining. They're close to the equivalent of an Edge and Christian and other comedy teams, but when they get in the ring, they utilize everything they have. So it's just odd for me to say, but yep, the New Day is entertaining.
Rick, let me ask you this question. Have you noticed as of late that nowadays we've been hearing more of New Day rocks chants and less of New Day sucks chants?
I think it goes back to the entertainment value, and I got to give credit to these guys. They've truly embraced their gimmick. A lot of comedy gimmicks don't go over, but this was an exception to the rule. And Lance, would you agree with me or disagree with me?
Oh, they're definitely getting over. It's just taking them a while.
Well, the New Day, in the form of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, go on to take on the Lucha Dragons. A good tag match, in my personal opinion. However, there was a distraction on the outside. Sin Cara would take out both Xavier Woods and Big E, which would allow Kalisto to do a sunset flip powerbomb pin on Kofi Kingston, so the Lucha Dragons get a tag team win over the New Day. Now, Becky Lynch taking it on. Oh my God, it's a Brie Bella match. First off, I hate the Brie mode music. I can't say that how many times, but that Brie mode music, Rick, has got to be one of the worst entrance themes I have ever heard, ever.
Yeah, and her, screaming Brie mode, I'm like,
it's not selling. Yeah. She's not selling it.
No, not at all. And to be honest with you, I think her career is winding down because she's talked several times that she's ready to be a mother, and I think she's just doing it mostly for Nikki Bella, because Nikki Bella felt that they had to be an item together. Now, she's proving that without one another, that could be the case, but I think she's still on her way out. As far as the match go, I think we're proving more and more that Charlotte is definitely turning heel. And the big question that I gotta ask you guys is Becky Lynch going to kind of turn heel herself, or is she going to distance herself? Because it seems right now they're teasing both ends.
Could it be possible to kind of, in a sense, they're trying to build Charlotte to be the nature girl, which I think, in my personal opinion, is a mistake. I don't think they need to build her like that. But if they are attempting to do something to that extent, for some reason I see the comparison of Becky Lynch and Charlotte to Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, and I definitely don't want to see them go that route when it comes to that. It's really interesting to see where they're going to go with this. Officially in this match, guys, Charlotte would end up tripping Brie. Becky Lynch would actually see what happened, and would still put on the Disarmer on Brie Bella to get Brie to tap out. So Becky Lynch would pick up the win. Of course, they would have that little confrontation about it, where Becky Lynch says she wants to win on her own. She wants to prove it that she could do it for herself. And Mr. Man, I got to ask you, there are looks and there are ways that WWE's the way they're kind of going with their storyline about the possibility of putting some Nature Boy-esque like tendencies to Charlotte. And I got to say, I don't agree with WWE trying that. Do you see them doing that?
Absolutely. The thing is, they're trying to get Charlotte over. And what's the best thing to do? They're trying to push the Ric Flair card, the Nature Boy, Nature/Girl card. And, right now, they're trying to make an identity for Charlotte. They're trying to get something over. And could this be who knows? This could they had the 4 horsewomen in NXT. This could be a return of that faction in Raw or SmackDown in the main roster. It would help the Divas division because they need to start pushing away from the Bellas. They need to. The Bellas are done. Nobody wants to see them anymore. They're great eye candy, but that's all they are. You know, they need to start focusing on Team Bad, other NXT work talent. They need now a solid core, real heel divas. And Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and whoever else can be, they can bring in to fill in the other 2, would be the good stable that they need for the NXT to make it interesting. Is it rehashing the 4 horsemen? Absolutely, but I think right now they need to start building up storylines, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Rick, my last question to you is, what the hell was Team Bad doing at ringside?
Well, again, I think it looks like they're teasing a feud between the 2 teams because with Nikki Bella, quote unquote, being on injury, they're kind of outmanned with Team Bella. Not to mention they're not getting over at all as a team. So I think they're going to try to take it in a different direction. As Joe, to answer your question, that they should really have that heel team or the heel stable. I think the problem is that there's too many stables right now. They should all be separate individuals, or at least maybe even tag teams. But when you do 3 or 4, right now with the Divas, it's limited. There's not enough. They would have to put at least another 5 or 10 Divas in there to mix things up, and I just don't see that happening.
This week's main event on Thursday Night Smackdown featured Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler. And again, one of the big turnoffs when it comes to this match, especially, was the promo Dolph Ziggler attempted to cut. And let's just say he's had better promos than what he did last night on SmackDown. Now, the way the matchup would go, it basically went out of control like I expected it to be, especially if they're trying to start this new storyline where the Intercontinental Dean... But anyway, I really don't understand why they're inserting Dolph Ziggler into the Dean Ambrose Kevin Owens storyline when it pertains to Intercontinental Championship. I guess my twin sister believes that they're going to turn Dolph heel. Do you guys agree with that sentiment at all? That the possibility of a heel turn for Dolph Ziggler?
Well, they need to do something with him. And the match last night, I'm sorry, but Ziggler just got his ass beat. Even after the match, during the match, and I'm guessing the reason why they're doing that because he's supposedly taking a little bit of time off to do some stand-up comedy. So that's my guess is that was his exit. As to answer your question, Billy, why they added him into the mix. Well, the Ambrose Owens current feud right now, if they keep on having them do matches together, it's just gonna make the thing very stale very quick. And I think also the fact that Ziggler was quote unquote collateral damage. That's why they had to have this match.
Now the finish would take a quite interesting turn. Let me explain exactly what happened. The matchup would go on the outside. Kevin Owens would not let up on his assault on Dolph Ziggler on the outside, and so the referee would be forced to disqualify him, and then that would prompt Dean Ambrose to come out to attempt what we thought would be a save. And as they were doing that, the referee was attempting to help Dolph Ziggler to the back, and as soon as Kevin Owens, I need to learn how to talk, I'm a commentator, would go out the ring, he would then knock down Dolph Ziggler, and Dean Ambrose would attempt to help Dolph Ziggler, and one would think Ziggler was thinking that Kevin Owens was on his back, and ends up inadvertently super kicking Dean Ambrose, and then left with the question of whether that was inadvertent or was it deliberate. And Mr. Knight, I'm going to ask you if you saw that. First off, did you see that?
Yes, I did, and it was pretty much it was deliberate. And here's the thing with why they need Ziggler in this. He's your crash test dummy. He's the guy that they just toss around because he takes the incredible bumps, and that's what makes the matches with him more exciting, because he's going to get tossed around. So that's the only reason he's in there, just to be the crash test dummy.
Overall score on Thursday Night Smackdown this week, well, it's SmackDown. Really expecting anything special out of SmackDown? it's going to get a 3 out of 5. Best match of the night. Honestly, I have to give it to Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler, especially for the unique post-match activities when it pertains to the disqualification, the insertion of Dean Ambrose making the save, and then the super kick at the end from Ziggler to Dean Ambrose. It would add more controversy and more fire into the angle that they have right now between these three guys. Worst match of the night, or worst segment of the night, I have to go to Ziggler's promo. It was less than stellar. And Ziggler, can cut better promos than what he did last night on SmackDown, and unfortunately, I have to give it to that because there was no real excuse for the lackadaisical promo that Ziggler cut. So that's why I have to give it a 3 out of 5. Rick, over to you. Your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Thursday Night Smackdown.
Well, the worst segment, as I said before, is going to be Ziggler's promo, which unfortunately it sucked. The best match, yeah, I have to absolutely agree with you. It was the main event. Well, probably was one of the higher impact matches. I'm going to give an honorable mention to New Day and their promo. They truly have a good time.
Spoilies! It was a good promo. Spoilies.
Okay.
It's what Biggie said in his. It's what Biggie said in his promo.
Okay. Anyway, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. Believe it or not, I truly did enjoy this week's SmackDown.
And over to you, Mr. Knight. Your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Thursday Night SmackDown.
You know what? Rick just said it all. I have to agree with everything he just said. To me, it was pretty much, I would say, I would give it a 5. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad either.
And for the record, that's 5 out of 10, Billy.
Okay, and all right, so we're going to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Thursday Night SmackDown this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Thursday Night SmackDown? Definitely want to know what you guys out there have to say. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, as I got a little kid right here and laughing at me for some reason. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Well, first off, Billy, everybody in the WGS world and HWR world is always laughing at you. So, they're just joining in. Of course, you guys can always find us over at youtube.com/HWR show. We have our podcasts. We got tribute videos, shoot videos, much, much more. And after tonight, HWR will be taking a 2-week hiatus from our podcasting. However, our chat room in the group section on Facebook.com is always still going to be open. I'll still be posting the latest news, doing play-by-plays, and just everything else. You guys want to get into the conversation? Head on over to HWR chat room.
Rick, I present this week's middle finger to you right now. Lance Moss is here from youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck garment videos, musical equipment reviews, some rants, and every Wednesday I go live with Lance Moss TV and friends. I never know who's going to show up, so come on, subscribe, and I'll see you over there.
And Joseph Knight, the Classic Wrestling Manager, part of the Classic Wrestling Association. Mr. Knight, where can fans check you out?
Well, they can check me out on my Twitter account at JKnightCWA, and they can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com Joseph Knight Manager. I'm going to be putting up a couple of little things for the fans in both your page, Billy, and on Rick's HWR. Pretty much his past versus present categories. Fans could be able to vote. It'll be like very interactive, so check that. Keep an eye out for that.
WGS-TV is on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can ask me questions. Links will be provided in the description box below. And as always, guys and gals, I'll have a couple of videos in the annotations at the end of this video for you guys to check out as well. So with that being said, for the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, Rick Kidd, the Classic Wrestling Manager, Joseph Knight, and the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, I am the Wrestle Gamer. Don't be Billy Boudreaux, saying we'll see ya at the next Warp Zone.
Coming in 2016, WGS-TV will be opening their very first brothel. Check for local listings and details.
Oh!
Yeah, you know, I have to admit, I really saw, I mean, don't get me wrong, Bailey, she has solely started to impress me. For the longest time, I'm shocked that she would.
TYRQ. DX.
So it's
got to have a T in it, right?
Gotta have. You are an asshole, Rick.